covering news that matters. Fox 23 News at 6 starts right now.
State lawmakers announced the state budget for the next fiscal year, detailing how they plan to use your tax dollars over the next year. Thanks so much for joining us for Fox 23 News at 6. I'm Shay Rozzi.
And I'm Nathan Thompson. At 5, we told you about the income tax cut that's in the budget. Now at 6, we dig into one of the biggest hurdles in the budget for legislatures. The State Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services in the department's $60 million budget shortfall in this current fiscal year.
Fox 23's Devin Lyon joins us live in the newsroom with a plan for mental health services in the new budget.
That's right, guys. When it comes to the budget and this specific agency, the phrase I continue to hear is to just stop the bleeding. Now, after a month long of the entire legislative and executive branch looking into this agency, trying to balance a budget, they have a plan, but whether or not it's enough is still uncertain.
The tentative plan on the entirety of the mental health budget is to stop the bleeding with the supplemental.
Inside the more than $12.5 billion state budget for the next fiscal year is a Band-Aid for the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. After falling short of their budget by roughly $63 million, the legislature has narrowed down a supplemental fund of around $26 million to carry the agency through the remainder of the current fiscal year. This means bridge contracts for providers like in Tulsa will continue, and employees with the state agency should be paid, which was uncertain until this week. But that $26 million is not set in stone.
They literally said it's just going to stop the bleeding. That concerns me.
A report from the Legislative Office of Fiscal Transparency noted the agency will need a supplemental closer to $31 million.
I know the governor is committed to it. Both the House and the Senate's investigative committee, the auditor and Loft have all been looking into it and trying to find out what the long-term solution, which will probably more likely be solved with a supplemental at the beginning of next session.
The budget for ODMH did increase by about $20 million. That's also planning for if the agency falls short and allows lawmakers to address it in February of next year instead of at the last minute like this year. But sorting through the mess at ODMH is still ongoing. That's what concerns Democrats. They say the Band-Aid budget to stop the bleeding does not heal its wounds.
What we have right now are cuts that have already impacted substance use treatment and crisis care for people in mental health crisis, and we don't hear them restoring that. So we're going to come back next February and fix this. But in the meantime, are we going to see services cut in our communities?
The investigative committees in the House and the Senate will continue to meet well into next week. They want to get that supplemental payment closer to what Loft estimated. If that number is not enough, it could lead to lawmakers having to come back to the state capitol for a special session to ensure that those critical mental health and substance abuse services will continue for thousands of Oklahomans. Live in the newsroom covering news that matters, Devin Lyon, Fox 23 News.
On fox23.com, we have a link to where you can see the entire state budget overview and more from our coverage on some of the projects that were added to this budget.